Now let us try to do a little bit of brainstorming on input and output. So let's say this is write a C++ code to print the message asking the user for an input, and then take the input from the user and store it in a variable. So first I have to print a message followed by waiting on the user input and store the value on the variable. So what you can do, let's say I want to take, so the printing message is, let's say, cout, enter the value. So let's value of I. So let's say I have a variable defined as int I, for which I want to take the variable. I want the user to enter the value of that variable. So let's say I wrote down cout, enter the value of I, and followed by a colon symbol, just like, so that it looks good. And then what I have to do, I have to actually take the value and store it in I. So what I need to do is cin I, and that is it. And so whenever I will run this program, what it will do is, okay, so here it has printed the first message like enter the value of I, and now it is waiting on the user input for this line number 16, that is cin I. So here I can enter the value. Let's say I enter the value as 34, the integer value. And now if I hit enter, it's stored the value in cin and then inside I, and the program is terminated. Now let's go to the last brainstorming part. Now write a C++ code to print a message followed by the value stored in the variable. So let's say now I want to get a nice message like, all right, the value stored in I equals this, the user stored value. I want to print this value in a in here in the output, but before, instead of only printing the value of I want to give a nice message also. So for that, what I can do is cout, let's say the message is the value stored in I equals, followed by, you know that how to print multiple things in a single line. So first, this is a message followed by a separation less than symbol followed by the value of I. So now if I just run it, you will see the complete code will run. First, it is asking me for the value, enter the value of I for the line number 15. That is, let's say I entered the value of 34. And so for in line number 16, it is waiting on the user input. So now after 34, and whenever I will hit enter, what will happen is it stored the value 34 in I, and for line number 19 over here, it is printing the value stored in I, the message, followed by the actual value stored in I. So that is about how you can do multiple user, how you can utilize the multiple input output in a single line in C++, and you can utilize these input and output for your problem solving purpose and giving users a nice message, all these things. Now, one thing that you should know, that so far whatever I am doing, I have printed everything in a same line. Now, if you want to put a line break in C++, let's say I want to print this message in one line followed by this variable in a separate line. At that time, what you can do is you can use another operator called ENDL. ENDL stands for end line. ENDL. And whenever you will do this ENDL, it will put a line break in between. So if I just run this one, then you will see that instead of printing this 34 in the same line, it will print it in the different line. So let's run it. So here it is again asking me for the value. Let's put the same 34 here. And now if I run it, as you can see that the value stored in I equals in the first line, then ENDL, that's why there is a line break, and followed by the value of I is printed over here. So this is how you can put a line break in C++. So try to utilize these type of tricks for nicely formatting input and output in your future program.